Why would any educated person make such a statement? Why? Then the person should resign. That means they're saying they're not capable of putting people into the stadium. I heard it and I just thought to myself, what next? The soap opera that is Ghana is somebody's really making such a silly statement. After all, before I got involved in football, the stadiums were empty. We all know they were empty. Yeah, when we came, we marketed within 3 to 6 months, the stadiums were full. And they stayed full until we were sacked. Then they went empty again. So I think that we need to be very, very careful. And it comes back to the caliber of people, how they see the present future, and how they respect the past. But most importantly, how do they respect the people who have nothing, the ordinary supporter?
Mr. Mensah, will you, after Rugby, managing Rugby, because you've given yourself a timeline, after a decade, try to managing your administration, for instance, taking charge of the sports ministry, if, let's say, you get an opportunity, maybe manage one of them?
I don't think so, and I don't forget that being chairman of Kotoko at the time is bigger than the Ministry of Youth and Sports. When I was chairman of Kotoko, it was a lot bigger than the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And I think if you can manage a successful Kotoko, and I keep telling people Kotoko is not just about the score on the pitch. Kotoko is about being able to hold the flame that governs the 7 to 9 million people who love that football club, who no longer go to the stadium and don't even want to hear about the results or the infighting or the wrangling. If Kotoko wins its matches and nobody goes to the stadium, then it's not Kotoko. Real Madrid in front of an empty stadium, is it Real Madrid? Going to the Bernabeu to watch Barcelona and there's 90,000 is now 500 people, is that Barcelona? Old Trafford with 500 instead of 76,000. My own team, Arsenal, without 61,000, maybe only 300. It's not a football match. The greatness of any sporting entity lies in the supporters and the base of the supporters. And I was honored to be able to do it at Kotoko and did my little bit at that time, and I've moved on. So in many ways, the Ministry of Youth and Sports is going backwards. If you say now helping the people of Ghana in the right circumstances, we can do it in an advisory capacity. You need a real maverick president to take Herbert Mensah on board, because I don't have things that I bring family or tribe. I don't have schoolmates that I'm going to give a job or help because everybody knows it. At Kotoko, I didn't allow anybody who was closely linked to me to be involved. I didn't at DSTV, I didn't at Motorola, I didn't at Nokia, I didn't at BBC, I don't do that. So if governance today has smatterings of all of what I'm talking about, then you need a very strong president with steel testicles to be able to have the confidence to say, let this man loose. Let this man loose. Because I want him to talk on the Minister of Finance. If things are budgeted and allocated, he doesn't pay it, I won't sit down quietly. I need to get in there and take the guy on. You know, if things are not happening with other institutions, we have to take it on. You're looking for support in a specific way to achieve a certain goal. And that transcends whichever political regime is in power. I haven't seen a president who is strong enough to say, you want a character like myself or others like myself to get involved in governance at any level.
Recently, we saw Kotoko coming out saying that the past administration should hand over, that they are giving it to Samuel Sekuf. I know we still have Kotoko Samuel on that event. What is written is written. What one advice would you give Samuel Sekuf, this current generation that are coming out to manage Kotoko? Because I know for a fact that nobody advises Otumfuo. So, so now Samuel Sekuf and is going around. Yeah. What advice? How can Samuel do it?
You know, Kotoko is one of those areas I generally keep away from because my love for the club is deep. My respect for Otumfuo is bigger than anybody understands. I take pride in the fact that I'm one of the very few past chairman of Kotoko who still has a very special relationship with Otumfuo. It has been maintained over the years, and I've been honored when he has publicly declared even at my father's funeral, that I was his son. So I have great respect for his position, the stool in Menchia in that regard. So I try not to get involved. The issue of advice, again, I keep away, apart from suggesting that people must respect the supporters. You have to respect the supporters. You have to understand that you are there to work for the supporters. The supporters are more important than you are. The programs you have depends on yourself. When Opokuwari dressed the multiple players out before traveling, Mr. Steve Noy and Aziz have already bought blazers for all the rugby players if they have to travel. So the jacket, the white shirt, they arrive, you get the respect.
Yes. We just want to wrap up with rugby. So after successfully having professionally run league, I know a lot is going on in the background. I can see trophies here. Amazing. What is next? What have we seen?
It's a difficult task for us. We are trying to consolidate. We got involved in Ghana in rugby. We put together a 4 or 5 year plan. We consulted with everybody who was entitled at Congress to be part of that plan, and then came out with the blueprint. We are fully aware that the development of anything in sports requires money. So we appealed first to governing bodies at CAR, World Rugby, to see what they are prepared to support us with. We told of our program. They thought the program was a bit ambitious, but we were looking for foreign coaches and the rest of it, because rugby is a very technical game. You know, for those who don't know, they'll think it's just running around, but it's a very technical game. And rugby, in many ways, encompasses everything that modern sports requires: nutrition, health, discipline, technical training, facilities. There's so many things that today are even absent from football, that are required for global football to be a success, but which are fundamental to rugby. So we appealed, and unfortunately we didn't get anywhere. We have issues as well with CAR, the governing body within Africa for rugby, which itself needs to look at itself introspectively in terms of what it does. Then we came back and looked at our own figures. We realized we had taken over an association which had 20 or 30 pounds sterling in the account, CD equivalent. We looked at the books. There should be money coming from the ministry, from the Sports Association that was never paid. So we then realized we had an imbalance. Then we had the official national assignments not paid. So we are having to adjust our own program in terms of development. A lot of good people have come on board. So I've had to reorganize the management of the game to make sure that we've got people on board who can actually help run it, bring money in, and take it to another level. We've decided that we needed to bring in younger people. We've got some of the members of the playing body who are involved. We've got people from there doing their National Service Secretariat here. And the two pillars here in Ghana, Mr. Steve Noy and Aziz, are the ones who run it from an executive position every day. Rian Malan, who's an extraordinary gentleman, is in South Africa. He comes backwards and forwards, who's running. So we're building an organogram of people that make sense in terms of the present, which is we have 10 teams. We may reduce it to 9 or 8 teams this particular league. The development of the junior game through touch rugby, they call it getting into rugby. We're trying to develop it in its most local forms and different forms. And then the women's game. There are women, girls here who play. The handling skills and ball skills of some of them is simply superb. How we now get the universities and colleges to bring it back in different forms. There are forms of touch rugby which are not full contact, and therefore a lot more fun. We have here, even here in Osu, where Mr. Noy and the team have got Akwaje Park to be available. I think this coming week there's about 40 or 50 schools who are coming for training. So our own playing body will be introducing touch rugby training. Now who pays for the balls? Who pays for the basic things? At the moment it's all us. And we have to invest in that development of the game to ensure that in a few years' time the grounding has been set properly. So we work with the Ghana Education Service at various levels in St. West and in Greater Accra. We're trying to get teams in Ashanti and the north to also take it on board. But it's a process, because it's not like the football, you just kick it. Whether you're playing to the rules properly or not, it's a technical sport. So we're trying to encourage people to get involved on that basis. So we've got development at one level, then we have the league this year. Yes, we've got extraordinary trophies because there's a global standard. So we have to make sure our trophies are as good as what they have in South Africa, or maybe even better in different ways, at the different levels of the game. Certainly, as you can see, they're better than football. Absolutely. I mean, look at the quality of these trophies. I mean, very heavy, very solid. And I know Mr. Noy will not be happy because we haven't officially launched them, but they've just arrived back now. But I hope if any of the players are seeing, they can see the kind of very solid trophies that we have that represent how we perceive our sport to be. We'll run a successful league this year, a very successful league. That I know. It'll be better than last year. We've got a few companies giving us support, and I know they would give more if we had greater cooperation from the NSA and the ministry. There are some individuals who have been truly outstanding. As I said, Haitham Fakri is a gentleman I love and I respect. He helps me with May 9th every year. He helps me whenever there's a charitable cause for Ghanaians and rugby. He'll be getting involved this year. We shouldn't forget Anthony Grendon at Accra Brewery. They've helped us with water and with product. They helped us in the final last year. And short notice, unbudgeted things, he's also helped out. And there are smaller companies who are also involved. So you're going to see that this year we're going to engage more companies to help raise the bottom line of where we're going. We're going to be playing a more competitive league in better situations and circumstances. And we shouldn't forget, rugby in Ghana is for Ghanaians first and foremost. Rugby in other countries is for the expats first and foremost. Here it's for Ghanaians first and foremost. And we are trying to encourage the expats themselves to show a greater sense of responsibility. Because rugby is a game that is all-encompassing. If you have money, you help the person who doesn't have money. At the moment, it doesn't happen with the expats, you know. And we're hoping that as they see the way we are going, that they will also get involved on a much greater basis. Already this year, pre-season, the grouper, which is the playing body, have had a sevens tournament. We are due to have an Accra Sevens, but we've decided to have a festival of rugby on the 24th of this month. The Togolese national team have said they're going to come to Ghana for that. There'll be inter-club matches, there'll be sevens matches, and hopefully the ladies as well. So from early in the morning to the afternoon, there'll be a whole festival of rugby taking place here in Ghana, which again will be like Max Brito. Again, you are young when we did Max Brito and put 70, 80,000 people in a 35, 40,000 seater Accra Sports Stadium way back then. And we want to slowly see if we can do the same thing by the tournaments that we bring about, the money we bring into the game, the prizes we give to the people who get involved, taking care of the Medicare of the players, and hopefully you'll see by this time next year we have a proper international tournament taking place which will mark what we do in Ghana every year.